So I just did this little NFT space, and feel free to follow me on @REKT for more of these types of Twitter spaces. I'm big on Twitter spaces, and I like this model of essentially digital radio. Like, what is a Twitter space? It came about as a result of Clubhouse going and making the case for, people just want something to listen to while they drive or work out or do something where they don't have to stare at a screen. When it comes down to it, that's the reason why I focus most of my attention on the podcast, because I get most people that are listening to the content as opposed to on YouTube. I get a smattering of views on YouTube just because I have, some interesting visuals to the videos and the content that I do. And I also write a blockchain newsletter, which I'm starting to read now, so that lends itself to certain visuals. But besides that, I think that a podcast medium or an audio-only medium not only provides the best format for the communication of blockchain issues a lot of times, for a broad scope news, like Castle Island type podcast, where it's really high level. People are discussing concepts that are difficult to absorb, but over the course of the podcast, when it's described, 6 ways to Sunday, you can get a pretty good handle on what's being discussed. But through this space, I thought I might just talk a little bit about my top tips for NFT investing. So the first one is you have to see who is associated with the project. If you're looking at CryptoPunks, you'll see that they're associated with a lot of really big whales. And Larva Labs is, I believe, the studio that made them. So they've had some successes in the past. They're by extremely well-heeled whales in the space, and they really know what they're doing. They have a well-organized drop, and what not a lot of people know is this is one of the first NFTs to the space. So you have historical significance as well as a lot of prominent people getting into the space, and there's a certain attraction with these things going for 42 Ethereum plus. So I think that before you jump into another CryptoPunks clone or something that's a little bit less concrete, like art blocks, you have to understand that the success of an NFT is really predicated on the community, just like a DAO. Who's in the community? Are they prominent accounts? Are they well-versed in the space? Or are they just kind of shilling everywhere they can go without really any substance to offer any more than just kind of doing the raw thing? And what ultimately also is not only team or community, as you might say, but also technology. So what are they bringing for the use cases? You can have a really good use case or a problem trying to be solved by the community, but if the community isn't there, then you're going to be relying heavily upon a few people, which is, I guess, what traditional vertical organizations do. But with a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, you're relying upon the group and the best ideas floating to the top, ideally. So you have the tech, you have the community quality, and then you do have the exposure to a certain degree. Obviously, with CryptoPunks, when Visa bought one of them and started trumpeting the project on all of their social media, that was really impactful because Visa has 1.18 billion users. And you think about, there's 7 billion in the world, but how many are over 18? How many are still, needing a card that aren't at home, kind of living on retirement? How many people are in the Western world or in a place that is heavily banked, like the US, South America, Europe, Western Europe? And what it comes down to is like almost every other person or every third person. So when you're getting the bull sign from that type of audience, that's pretty powerful. So that helps the case enormously. What I think happened there is also the whales have traditional contacts in this ecosystem, so it's in their best interest to see a project scale and to see those relationships get formed. Well, it reflects well on a project. And in turn, when these people have CryptoPunks in their own ERC or in their own NFT wallet, then yeah, they're going to benefit materially for them venturing out to Visa, let's say, their old fraternity buddy at Visa, and saying, you got to look into this. This is a great place for you guys to enter into the space. Not going in through something that's kind of still being figured out securities law-wise with the ERC-20s or the ICOs or the actual things that try to mirror equities, but in the art world, which has a very nicely codified law history. And so it was good. And I think that in the space, you're going to see a lot of people coming in and trying to buy tokens and buy art, but they won't know what they're doing. So you got to look for who's in the community. If you respect who's in the community and you have some fundamentals in terms of what they're trying to do, I'd say you're good to go in.